Hey there, Aurelie here from WithHisGifts.com. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Today I have another video tutorial for you, and we're going to be creating this lovely card. So let's go ahead and get started. For today's project, you'll be getting a sneak peek of the Petal Palette bundle, which is included in the Occasions catalog that goes live on January 3rd and includes the Petal Palette stamp set as well as the Petals and More Thinlits dies. We'll also be using the Stitched Shapes framelits. For my ink colors today, I will be using my Stampin' Write markers in the Bermuda Bay and the Basic Gray. If you don't have the markers, you can also use your ink pads in the same color, Bermuda Bay, Basic Gray. Just make sure to grab a couple of Q-tips if you're going to use the ink pads. I will also be using my Versamark pad, my Stampin' Buddy, and some white embossing powder. And then some of the other things that we'll be using are the Fast Fuse, the snail adhesive, some mini Stampin' Dimensionals, and glue dots. And for our paper, I have my card base here in the Whisper White Thick that is cut at 8.5 by 4 1/4, and it's scored at 5.5. I have a piece of the Petal Passion Designer Series paper that is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of vellum cut at 3 3/4 by 5. I have a piece of scrap vellum that we'll be using to stamp our flowers on. A scrap piece of my Whisper White and a delicate doily. We'll also be using the Big Shot as well as the heating tool for this project today. We're going to go ahead and get started with stamping our flowers, and for that we will need the scrap piece of vellum. We will need the Versamark pad, the embossing buddy, the white embossing powder, as well as the stamp that we are stamping today, and that is this lovely bunch of flowers right here. So I have that mounted and ready to go. So let me get started here. Let me open up my pad, get my embossing powder ready. Okay, here we go. So I will start here. I'm going to rub my vellum with my embossing buddy, and that is just getting rid of any of the moisture that came from my fingers or anywhere else for that matter, because we want the embossing powder to stick only to my stamped image. So alrighty, here we go. I am stamping my image. There we go. And I will be careful when you're stamping embossing powder onto vellum, because it could tend to be a little slippery, especially when it's a red rubber stamp. So just be careful that you go straight down and try not to move it, okay? Because you want a nice little crisp image, okay? So I don't know if you could see that. Can you see that? Probably not, but you will in a second. You will in a second. So I have my embossing powder. I am just going to sprinkle it all over my stamped image. Embossing is so much fun. I often ask myself whenever I find myself doing it, why don't I do this more? Because it is fun and gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous result. Okay, so there that is. You can see that, right? I'm going to go ahead. We're going to do 2 of these. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and heat set that one so it doesn't smear on me. And there is our first bunch of flowers. We're going to go ahead and turn this around this way, and I'm going to stamp it the same flower on this side here. Alrighty, so that is that. That is done. That is good. I'm going to give that just a quick little second to cool down because I need to flip it over. We're going to cover on the back of it. And you don't want to smear that, because if it's still a little bit hot, you can possibly smear it if you flip it over, but that looks good to me. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this so you can see what I'm doing. I'm flipping this over, okay? And you'll notice here from the image on your stamp set that there are 3 flowers. There's this one here, this one that's kind of sideways, and then this smaller one down below. And then there are some clusters of leaves coming out, okay? We're going to color the flowers in the Bermuda Bay, okay? And then the leaves will get colored in the basic gray. And we're doing that on the back side, like I said. I'm going to go ahead and use my Stampin' Write marker, and then I will show you how to use your ink pad if you don't have the marker, okay? So I'm just following the lines in here, just coloring inside that image. Don't try to be careful about avoiding your white lines, because again, this is the back side of the image. You will not see it at all, okay? So no worries if you color outside the lines. Alrighty. So let me flip that over so you can see. Do you see how lovely that is? Isn't that gorgeous? So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do the other 2. So I'll do this one with my markers, and then we'll do this one with the ink pads. So I'm going to speed up a little bit here. I'm just coloring inside the lines, and I'm going to color those 3 flowers. So there are my flowers, and let me flip that over so you can see how beautiful that is. Isn't that gorgeous? So now I'm going to go ahead and flip it back over. I'm going to grab my basic gray Stampin' Write marker, and then I will do my leaves same way I did my flowers, okay? So I'm just looking for that open space, and then I am putting ink there. Okay, I just realized that I missed a spot for my Bermuda Bay right here. And let me go ahead and fix that. And then that is one completed cluster of flowers. Isn't that pretty? So now we'll go ahead and do the same. I'm going to grab my Bermuda Bay ink pad this time, along with the Q-tip, okay? So let's go ahead and apply some ink onto the tip of our cotton swab. And then we're just going to color, just like we would with our marker. You have to be a little more careful here that you stay where you want to. The die will cut this out, and it leaves a little border around it. So unless you want ink in the vicinity of that border, then just be extra careful not to go outside the most outer line of your flower. Okay? But otherwise, you just color like so with your Q-tip and your ink pad, and you get the very same effect. See? Just like that. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this side with my cotton swab. Okay, so there are my flowers. I'm going to go ahead and grab the base gray ink pad next. Okay, and I'm just going to flip my cotton swab over and tap some color onto my swab and proceed to color my leaves like so. Okay, and just like that, there are my flowers. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, you could even use this piece of vellum. The vellum that I used for my first card was more a couple of scrap pieces, but this is gorgeous actually. You can use this for a card front even, just like that. But we are going to cut them out because that's what I promised you, right? So you will want to give the ink a little bit of time to dry, okay? You can speed that along, and the reason why is because we don't want to start cutting it and messing with it and fussing with it and touching it, and then the ink comes off on your fingers or other paper, and then it's not as intense the color as you wanted it to be. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of heat to speed up the drying process. Now when you do that, be careful. I smeared mine a little bit here because I usually will lift it up and I had it down a little bit. But anyways, when you're heating the back of your vellum to speed dry the color on the back, be careful because you're also heating your embossing powder and it's going to be soft again. So just be careful. Okay, and then we'll give that a second to dry. We're gonna get our Big Shot ready because we're gonna need that next. All right, so here's my Big Shot. I'm gonna put down my magnetic platform because it's the platform that I use all the time. Here's my first acrylic plate. I'm gonna go ahead and place down my vellum. Alrighty, and then I'm gonna go ahead and grab my die, okay, which is this one here. So we'll line that up around our flower. Okay, and again it's going to leave a small border around the image, and I like to use washi tape just so that it doesn't move around on me, like so. Put my acrylic plate up top, run it through, and then I'll do the same for the second flower. So my Big Shot is right here. Let me move that a little bit because I did forget we have to cut out our little sentiment, and first I have to stamp it. So let me get the scrap piece of the Whisper White. We are going to be stamping the "Life is so much better with you in it" right onto here, and we will be using the basic gray. Okay, so if you have markers, you can color your stamp with your marker, or you can use your ink pad. I'm going to use my ink pad because I just have it. So I'm inking it up. Okay, sure I got good coverage, and then I'm going to stamp that, hold it down for 1 second, like that. Alrighty, we are done with our ink. Let's get our Big Shot back over here. Okay, so again with our magnetic platform, cutting plate, here's our thing. And we have the stitched shapes in the circles. It's actually the second one from the inside. That's the size that I'm using here. Just going to center it onto right there and run it through. Now we are finished with our Big Shot work, and we can go ahead and work on getting the card together. So let's go get all our pieces here. I have my card base here. I'm going to go ahead and fold that. I'm going to grab a bone folder that I forgot. The Whisper White Thick usually needs a little bit of help with laying down flat when you're folding it. So just like that. We're going to grab our piece of the Designer Series paper and my snail. Again, this is the Petal Passion Designer Series paper. It's double-sided and it is gorgeous. We're going to use this side here. I'll flip that. Put some adhesive on the sides. Oh, no, no. I'm telling you, me and adhesive, we have a funny relationship. But I always manage to win because my projects don't get ruined. Okay, there's that. I'm just going to go ahead and center it on the front of my card. Make sure that you can see what I'm doing. So go ahead and center it on your card front. Okay, like so. And the next thing that we are going to layer onto the front is our vellum. And for that, I'm going to put some Fast Fuse right down the middle. Just a couple or 3 little strips right down the middle here. and we're going to center that. You won't see that in a second. And the reason why I'm using the vellum, it's because it looks gorgeous, first of all, but it helps to mute the color of my DSP behind it. It is black and white, and I want the black and white to show, but I don't want it to be so intense that it takes away from the gorgeous flowers that I'm going to put up front. And this way it kind of mimics my basic gray even. So anyways, those are the reasons why I chose to put some vellum over it. Now what I'm going to do is take my snail, and I'm just going to put a little bit on each corner here. Okay, I went a little bit crazy there. Just so it lays flat. And if you just put a teeny tiny bit, it won't show. Okay, just teeny, because we want it to lay flat. Okay, there we go. So what is holding it down most is what's in the center there. So that is gorgeous and that is beautiful, and that's what we have so far. The next step is to put our doily down. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and grab some snail and put some snail on the back of my doily. Then I'm going to center that on the front of my card. This card is really super duper easy. It really is. But it's lovely. Sometimes those are the best cards because I mean, I love to create, don't get me wrong. And I love a project that will take me into this creative journey, and I'm there for hours, I really do. But for creating cards that, you know, you can mass produce, this is one of them. This is lovely, gorgeous, and easy and quick. Alright, so I'm putting my sentiment right onto the center of my doily, just like that. So the next thing we have are our lovely flowers, and I'm going to use both glue dots and dimensionals because I want the dimensionals to pop them up, but I found that my dimensionals were not sticking very well onto the back of my vellum. So what I did was, these things are tiny. I put my dimensional onto a glue dot, and I think I have like 4 on each flower if I remember correctly. But anyways, so that's what I'm doing. I'm grabbing a little mini dimensional and I'm putting it right onto my glue dot. Okay, so then we'll pick that up, put it on the back of the flower with the glue dot side on the vellum. And that is what I found to work for me. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to grab my dimensional like so, and I put one on each of the outer corners here. So the leaves, right on each of the leaves, and then one right there. So that's where I have the placement of my dimensionals. And then you just peel the backing. And you place it on the front of your card, okay? Like so. Then we're going to do the same thing for this one here. And there you have it. Super duper easy, super duper quick, and super duper elegant. So make sure to jot down the supply list down below. And then on January 3rd, head on over to my website at withhisgifts.com and place your order so that you can add this lovely bundle to your collection. You will not regret it. It is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video tutorial, please leave me a comment down below, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Until next time, have a great day.